record now. My screen's recording. I've shared my screen and you can go ahead and let me know once it's presenting. You can see my screen?
Yes, I
Yes.
can see your screen.
Yeah. Shweta, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, team. We are here to represent Turnusol Canada Limited, which is a sunflower oil manufacturing company. We will look at the different operational performance factors of the company, and we have our senior management team who consists of 5 members. Myself, Shweta. We have Zainab, Anusha, Roya, and Akriti. And we have now Akriti to walk us through the introduction.
So, this case study takes a close look at the company's current ways of doing things and suggests ways to make them better. The main goal is to help the turners all understand how market works, keep product quality high, and make more money in its sunflower oil business. The goal is to give top management a strategic plan that fits with Turner's oil goal of cutting cost, making sure quality, and responding to the market. Next slide, please.
So, our goal is to provide practical suggestions on 3 areas. We want to improve the procurement of raw materials, analyzing and suggesting the best method to buy raw sunflower seeds from several suppliers, supplier A, B, and C, to cut expenses, and creating buying choices by using future prices for sunflower seeds, oil, and mash by using historical pricing data and forecasting tools. Evaluating supplier variable to find the cheapest buying techniques, and we perform cost and profit analysis to understand the amount of production revenue and finding out the break-even point and assess how different buying techniques affect profitability. We also analyze earning for the following production cycle, considering shifts and risk in the market and offering recommendation to improve profitability. Next, please. Price forecasting. The process of forecasting future price for goods and service by using mathematical models and past information is known as price forecasting. Accurate price and forecasting is necessary for a company to make accurate decisions about sales, procurement, and financial planning. We apply 2 price forecasting techniques, exponential smoothing and a 3 moving average. Based on our calculation and based on error and comparison, the data analysis indicate that the 3 moving average generate more accurate forecast than exponential smoothing. Uh, Based on the dataset, the moving average methods lower absolute error numbers, show less variance between the actual and predicted values, suggesting improved accuracy in predicting future price in our dataset. For decision making, while the moving average approach generates less mistake in this dataset, but there are also several considerations. For example, we should consider the type of data, the specific requirements, the period of prediction. All of these should consider in decision making. Thank you. I pass to my friend Zita.
Zita, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Roya, for your amazing presentation. And I want to go through the minimizing the daily cost for Tornosel. Slide 1, please. Optimizing daily supply cost. The operational goal is to efficiently run the production process at 90% capacity, striking a balance between productivity and sustainability. The daily order is capped at 135 short tons, comprising 30% oil and 70% mash, ensuring resource optimization. Adhering to composition constraint, a minimum of 31.19 short tons of oleic acid and 0.32 to 0.36 short tons of iodine acid are required daily. Suppliers play a vital role, with supplier A contributing 0.23 short tons of oleic acid and 0.0029 short tons of iodine acid. The expected objective is to minimize cost calculated as the sum of supplier A cost, which is $474.65, suppliers B cost $558.41, and supplier C cost $502.57. This cost-effective approach aims to enhance financial efficiency while sustaining an environmentally conscious operation. Please, next slide. Cost volume profit CVP analysis is pivotal for assessing optional and optimizing contributions. Nearby, we adjust raw sunflower seeds procurement as a variable cost while keeping fixed costs constant. Strategic alignment involves tweaking quantities from supplier A, B, and C to meet established ratios, aiming to optimize product quality and curb variable costs. Operational efficiency and quality optimization are paramount, emphasizing accuracy and waste reduction within daily order constraints. Our approach is environmentally conscious, fostering sustainability alongside top-notch product quality. This concise strategy seeks a comprehensive blend of economic viability, operational efficiency, and environmental responsibility. Thank you, guys, and I wanna hand over the presentation to Shweta.
Thank you, Zita. Now let's look at the risk and uncertainties that may pose turn soil. So the volatile fluctuations in sunflower seeds, oil, and mash prices over the historical 15-year span that we see in the case study, it creates challenges in forecasting, posing risks for pricing the raw materials and finished products, which potentially results in diminished margins or losses with sudden price fluctuations. And looking at the supply side volatility again, it poses a significant risk for Turnusol due to dependence on 3 primary raw material suppliers only, making it the business very vulnerable to disruptions in quality, availability, or consistency of supplies. Looking at the Turnusol's 1.75 million fixed cost, it poses a financial risk as well, requiring near maximum production for sustainability, economic pitfalls, including funding, mortgage rates, and foreign exchange risks. It can heavily impact the company's financial efficacy. And variations in oleic acid and iodine concentration among the 3 vendors. Sunflower seed compositions may impact refining oil parameters, potentially complicating the customer satisfaction, which should be the main concentration for the company. Operating in a regulated sector requires adherence to a lot of local laws in food manufacturing, quality management, and of course, sustainability. And non-compliance to any of these may lead to heavy penalties, lawsuits, or damage to the business's brand. Using time series model for predictions beyond the sample period introduces ambiguity as the accuracy of price projections compared to local prices remains unclear. With fresh companies entering the business area, there's always a poise of competition from different competitors in the market. And since we don't have a lot of information from the client base, but there is always a poised solidarity clientele absence could have an enormous influence on the organization's entire turnover if it only depends on the selective client accounts. Now let's move on to the next tab, which is the P&L. This is a P&L which is projected for the year ended December 31st, 2025. We can see that we are ending with an operating loss of 2,752,000. Moving on to the next tab, let's analyze this P&L in detail. So starting with the revenues, the sales of sunflower oil is expected to drive the majority of total revenues at $18.8 million annually in 2025. This projection used the 16-year price forecast that we have seen from the moving average model of $1,278 per metric ton, along with assumptions on yielding 40.5 tons of oil per day over the 365-day period. and only utilizing 90% facility of utilization rates. Secondly, the MASH byproduct revenues contribute to another $8.3 million using similar volume and pricing. And this logic is based on forecast. So in total, our revenues are expected to be at $27.1 million. And looking at the cost side, the raw sunflower seeds purchases that make up the bulk of the cost of goods sold with the projection based on the 2025 price forecast of $456 per ton. The variable production cost per ton and fixed overhead comes up to our total expenses of $29.9 million. This results in a negative gross profit of around $1 million in 2025, which ultimately leads to a high fixed cost structure, leading to a operating loss projection that we saw in our P&L of $2.75 million next year. There are also a lot of sensitivities exist that around the price forecast, like inaccuracies, volume fluctuations, cost inflation assumptions, and if the actual yields drop below 90% utilization, which is currently from the company, or market prices deviate significantly from moving average predictions, the revenue and cost implications would again detrimentally impact profitability further, and this overall results in a loss of the company. And looking at the risks that may inherit from the P&L, we can see that the commodity price volatility changes like seeds, oil, or mash prices forecast may deviate significantly from moving average predictions. We also see that the actual yields and facility utilization rates could vary from 90% assumptions. There may be a lot of mechanical issues with the machines or shutdowns, and then there's always competitor problems, and then changes in substitute or byproducts or policies from the government. And of course, the high fixed cost structure leaves little margin for errors. Now I pass it on to Anusha for further details.
Thank you, Shweta. And we have discussed a lot about Earnisol so far and understood its grasps and the PNL and where it currently stands. But today I'll be discussing the concepts of the break-even point, which definitely is a crucial part of any business to understand. It's point where our total revenue exactly matches our total costs, like meaning we're not exactly matching our total cost, but not making profit either. As we won't be losing money. In order to calculate this factor, we will consider our fixed costs, which are expenses that don't change regardless of how much we sell, and our variable cost, which fluctuate with production volume. The price at which we sell our products is also a key factor. The formula which we would be using to find out the break-even point will be equals to the fixed cost per unit by variable costs per unit break. This cost calculation is vital because it tells us the minimum number of units we need to sell to start making a profit. If our break-even point is a negative number, which we've already seen in the P&L value, it is a red flag that our current business model may not be sustainable, and we need to either reduce costs or increase its selling price. On to the next slide, I would be talking about the sensitivity analysis and cost revenue relationship, and a graph which totally focuses on total costs versus the total revenue incurred. In this slide, we'll be talking about the technique which helps us understanding how changes in our variable cost affect our break-even point, and our analysis that has showed us if our variable costs increase, our break even point becomes even more unattainable, which is a serious concern. And to visualize this, we can take a look at the graph, which clearly shows that the total costs and the total revenue based on the number of units sold. The red dashed line, which you can see, is our break even point, which, as you can see, falls into negative. This graph clearly illustrates while our revenue increases steadily with sales, our costs start higher, due to the fixed expenses. It is clear indication that we either need to sell a lot more units, reduce our costs, or increase our price to ensure our business thrives. Here you can easily mention sensitivity analysis, variable costs of their impact, and the graphical representative. Now I'll pass it on to Akriti to conclude the entire presentation. Thank you.
So, in conclusion, Turnusol Canada is facing challenges in its supply chain, production, efficiency, and quality control. By addressing these immediate concerns and adopting strategic initiatives, the company can remain competitive and position itself as a leader in the industry. It is important for the company's leadership to commit to these strategic direction and invest in people and processes. Diversifying the procurement strategy, leveraging existing purchase agreements and adopting forecasting methods are recommended to ensure stability in the supply chain and profitability in operations. When it comes to predicting seed average prices, Turnusol third period moving average method has worked better than anything. How well the method works relies on the type of data, the needs, and the time frame for the prediction. The cost volume profit analysis is very important for keeping track of changing prices and making sure the quality of the product. Turnusol worked at 90% of its capacity, which is in line with limits of daily supply orders. To reduce supply side and make sure consistent raw material quality, it is suggested to have a variety of providers. Concerns about price changes shows how important it is to have flexible pricing methods. Because of high set cost, operation must be close to full to be sustainable. Quality control and following the rules are very important, but the uncertainty in the forecast model, the way the market changes, and the competition all need to be taken into account. It is also important to get different kind of customers. Thank you.
Thank you all for your presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.